My company's tracked 332 different metrics over the last year. And in this video, I'm gonna show you the 3 that made the biggest impact on our sales and profit over the last 12 months so that you can start tracking them in your business too. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Deiss. My partners and I manage 17 companies across our $200 million holding group. So what I'm gonna give you now are 3 of the right metrics that I believe will apply to any business. And if you hang around until the end, I'll give you a bonus 4th metric that just might be the most powerful one of all. And I'll also tell you how you can access the same company scorecard template that we use to keep track of all of these different metrics and KPIs. We got a lot to cover, so let's get into it. Offers made. How many offers did we make to our list from a marketing perspective, and how many offers did our sales team make when they were talking to prospects? Now, this one might seem a little bit obvious, but we found that this really was the golden metric. I mean, out of all of them, this was really kind of the one that made the biggest difference. You might have heard the expression, nothing happens until something is sold. That's true, but the reality is that nothing is sold until an offer is made. And the problem that we were facing is that the first half of the year, what we were really tracking and what we were optimizing for mostly was conversion rate. And so what we were finding is that on the sales side, if a salesperson didn't feel like a prospect was ready to close right now, they simply didn't bother to make an offer. They would just kick the can. And similarly, the marketing teams enjoyed bragging about the amazing conversion rates they were seeing, as well as the incredibly high engagement rates of our email list. The problem is, the sales overall were below target. So what's the point of high conversion rates? And what's the point of all of this engagement if you're still missing your sales goals? So that's when we had a crazy idea. What if we just made more offers? The fear, and kind of what some people thought, myself included, was if we optimize for offers made, our sales and marketing teams, they're gonna flip the script and they're basically just gonna start spamming, unqualified leads. They're gonna start making offers to prospects that just aren't qualified, that just aren't ready. And I will freely admit, this is a risk, okay? This is a risk. Now, fortunately, our people happen to have a soul, and they also, they know better. They still don't want to have a ludicrously low conversion rate. And so what it did is it just simply introduced a balance. And so we still had conversion rate as one of the metrics that we were tracking, but when we added offers made to it, now all of a sudden we saw conversion rates dip a little bit, but we saw revenue go up dramatically. So are you tracking the number of offers that you are making? If not, you might want to do that. Okay, the second high impact metric that we pulled out of the last 12 months was engaged leads. Just about every scorecard for just about every business that we were running, one of the metrics that the marketing teams were held accountable to is how many total leads or how many new leads that did you generate. We were encouraging our marketing team to just focus on the new, which is really, really, really expensive. Acquiring new leads is one of the most expensive things that you'll do, as opposed to focusing on re-engaging the leads that we already have, which is cheap and in many cases even free. So we changed it up. We said, yep, we do want to track, we're still going to track new leads. We're not going to do away with that one, but we want to balance it with how many engaged leads. So we would define an engaged lead as anybody who clicked on a content link in an email. Maybe they replied to an email, or maybe they consumed content on our site for 30 seconds or longer. We would deem any of them to be engaged. And if they had done that in the previous 7 days, we would call them engaged. So obviously any new lead would be engaged, but also any quote unquote old lead who we got to re-engage through sending them additional content, through improved nurture series, things like that. Well, they got added to the list as well. And so the result was the marketing team got really good at re-engaging the leads that we already had. This meant that qualified appointments went up. Define what does engaged mean for you and start tracking engaged leads, not just new leads. Okay, so we've given you a high impact metric for the sales team, giving you a high impact metric to track for the marketing team. Let's get one for that product team or the services team. Customer stories and or testimonials generated. This is a biggie because it can sometimes be difficult to come up with metrics for your product and your service teams. Now, traditional metrics in this space are things like Net Promoter Score, or you have Customer Satisfaction Score, CSAT. In my experience, they tend to lag for a bit too long. They're also dependent upon survey data. We were, tracking Net Promoter Score and we were tracking customer satisfaction, but we wanted something that would give us a bit more insight into, were we delivering a good service on behalf of our customers and our clients that would be a bit more of a lead measure and would give us that number a bit faster. Now, some of the things that we tried that we found didn't work as well were things like on-track rate and completion rate. But what we found is that just because a client is on track, or just because we serviced a client, that didn't necessarily mean that they were happy, okay? Somebody could be on track, but kind of miserable and kind of pissed off. And somebody could have finished, but now that they're done, they're not particularly thrilled that they did business with us. So on-track rate, completion rate, it's good, but it didn't give us the whole picture. When do you ask for a customer story? Not at the end. You ask for a testimonial or customer story as soon as you know that you have delivered value. It's very easy to measure. You either got a testimonial, you got a customer story, or you didn't. It's binary. Did you get it or didn't you get it? Also, it's not reliant upon survey data that is inherently statistically significant if you don't have a lot of it. And I promised you 3, but I also promised you a bonus 4th metric. And this bonus 4th metric that I want you to start tracking is distributable cash. How much cash do you have available for distribution? Now, this is important because most companies track their profit. Specifically, they're going to track their profit on a P&L. The problem is that P&Ls can lie, right? As you probably know, it's very easy to have a P&L profit, but no cash. And I've seen this happen with a lot of our clients where they're technically on paper profitable, but they're completely out of cash. So we've got a saying here, P&Ls lie, cash doesn't. And so we started tracking how much extra cash do we have at the end of every month over and above what we need to keep in savings and operating that's available for distribution. Now, more importantly, we based bonuses and profit sharing on this distributable cash figure, not P&L profit, not paper profit, and definitely not revenue, but how much cash was actually distributed. And what do you know? All of a sudden, everybody on the team was monitoring both the top line and the bottom line. Instantly, everybody got very, very interested in what was the company's cash position. And what we started seeing was the company got really, really cash rich really, really quickly. Now, one of the things that we fundamentally believe at the Scalable Company is that the ultimate sign of a healthy business is not revenue, it's not growth, it's not net promoter score, it's not even P&L profitability. The ultimate sign of a healthy business is the ability to distribute big, fat chunks of cash each and every quarter. All right, if you like this video, then you're probably gonna love my other video on how to actually build your CEO dashboard. That's gonna show you how to really go and think about all of the other metrics that you should be tracking in addition to these 3 or 4 that I just gave you. I'm gonna drop a link to that video along with a link to the company scorecard template that we use in the description. So be sure to check these out. And of course, if you need help putting any of this stuff together, that is exactly what we do at the Scalable Company. We'd love to help you do that as well. I'll drop a link to our service where you can learn more about that as well. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.